Ashley, your thoughts? What's up? You see Ashley's face over here.
I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree.
Okay.
I mean, let's get into it. Sabonis better than Karl-Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo better than Karl-Anthony Towns. Let's go through the list here. Jokic better than Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, I can name at least.
Do you got Karl-Anthony Towns stats?
I can name at least off the top of my head right now at least 8 centers better than Karl-Anthony Towns.
But what are some stats that you're looking at if you're looking at somebody like him?
I'm looking at his versatility, being able to shoot the three, can handle. Obviously, the only thing that you can really knock him for is they've yet to become a consistent winning team. Yeah. So he has to prove that. And if he starts winning, this conversation will be totally different.
Yeah. I'm looking at his stats.
Joker's been the MVP a couple of times, but now the conversation has changed. Everybody now talks about where he ranks at in all-time centers in the league. Prior to that, we never talked about that, even when he won MVPs.
Yeah.
But now you had the championship with it, and he's the MVP in the finals. Now our conversation changes about him. So I just think with the losing, I think Ash is kind of killing him because they don't win a lot in Minnesota. But he's up there. He's really skilled. He's tough.
So you would say
don't get it twisted.
Okay, because typically when we're talking about centers, it's Jokic, it's Embiid, it's Davis. You're saying that there's not that much drop off from a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns and like those elite centers that are normally in that conversation.
Not talent wise, not skill wise. No, he has all the skill set, all of it.
So who are the centers? I want to let's categorize him maybe with other centers. So like who
he's not. He's not. I'll be 8 was a little wild. I can name 5 centers better than him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not better than Embiid.
Yeah.
He's not better than Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't think he's better than Bam Adebayo.
Okay.
I don't think he's better than Sabonis.
Yeah.
I think it's the wrong conversation though.
Like the best center in the league, that's crazy. Like that's crazy, and it has nothing to do with him not the Timberwolves not winning. Like Karl-Anthony Towns has gaps in his game. Like his decision making is not always the greatest. It's not the greatest a lot of the time. He does things that you look at him like, are you for real? Sometimes he struggles playing both sides of the game. Like he'll give you buckets. He's not always the best defender. Like I don't know how you can have holes like that and be the best center in the league. It just doesn't add up to me. I'm sorry.
Well, that's Patrick Beverley say he's the best.
No, I know that's. But I'm not saying Cat said it.
He's one of the best. He's one of the best centers in the league.
Well, did we play the clip? Because I went to the bathroom. Did y'all play the clip of Cat saying that when it's all said and done?
We actually don't even reveal it because we actually have that clip and we haven't played it yet. So Karl-Anthony Towns, like I mentioned, he was a guest on the podcast. This is what he said about himself.
I'm gonna put it like this. I feel like when my time's up and I retire and I put the shoes up and I say, you know what, Pat, me, the kids and the wife, we gonna head out to the sunset and enjoy life. I feel like there's gonna be people who are gonna say, that I changed the game, and I'm gonna be very appreciative of that.
Yeah, says he's changed the game. Hey, I have his stats for you though, Antoine.
Does he even play center?
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess with Rudy Gobert on the floor, he is kind of like
he played power forward this last season.
He mostly plays the 3, doesn't he?
The 4.
The 4, I'm sorry. He's a power forward.
Just this last season. Every other season he was a 5.
That's true.
Yeah, before then.
That's true. Before I'm forgetting Rudy wasn't always on that team.
Here's what I would say to that, right? This is really powerful. First off, I want to say that I respect his mindset. That's the type of guy I want to play with. I want to play with guys that believe they can do the unthinkable. I want to play with guys that believe we can redefine all the odds that's out there. I love the mindset, right? Because if you fall short, you're still falling in greatness. You understand? Basketball and football, totally different. And I'm trying to understand this now that I'm talking more about basketball, but like he came in the league in 2015. And I don't understand how we can be 9 years into our career and talking about like, I'm about to become, and that's the sentiment I got, like when it's all said and done, right? Like, well, aren't we in our primes year 5, year 6? right? I know basketball players can play a little longer, but that's a little odd to me when we talk about basketball players and it's like year 8, year 9, they still believe like there's another level for them, right? I will say this, the conversation for me starts with the class, right? So you talk about redefining. All right, well, you can redefine positions in sports in so many different ways. So I'm not looking at what all these guys did, but when you think about like Shaquille O'Neal, because this is the class that he's talking about. Shaquille O'Neal, he redefined the position, right? There's rules, that was created because of Shaquille O'Neal. Hack-a-Shaq, right? How people play. He changed how people played the center position or him. Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Russell, you know what I mean? So when you look at those type of names, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, then you're putting yourself in that type of class. And so that's the question for me, Ashley, is Karl-Anthony Towns amongst those guys when you talk about redefining the position.
I think that's a long-winded way of saying change the game. How?
Right.
Like that's what I want to know. Like he said, change the game in what way? In
right.
what capacity?
What you got to understand too, this is a new age of centers. So I would put Karl-Anthony Towns in the same conversations as our MVP, the Joker, where these guys are able to stretch the floor, shoot the three. All those guys, the other centers you named were more traditional centers that play with their back to the basket. They're not out on the floor dribbling, making plays. But Karl-Anthony Towns can handle the basketball. He can shoot the three. This guy just participated in the three-point contest, even though he didn't do well. But this is a new age, and the game has changed now. Where these centers, and you see the Joker and his skill set and getting triple doubles. You see Embiid. Those guys, all these big guys now in the league, shoot threes. They handle. They make plays like guards. So he is in a unique category. I think he's giving himself too much credit. You got to get some wins. You got to get some championships before you start putting yourself in like you change the game category. But he's playing in a different game where it's multiple guys that do what he do as far as on the basketball court now. He's not just in a class of his own. Joker shoots the three, Embiid shoots the three. They all can handle. They all can make passes. So I have a problem with his comment, but he's not in a class of his own.
Well, that's my confusion. Like when you say change the game, that means that like you were the one who started what you see. When you think of Karl-Anthony Towns, do you credit him with big shooting the three, or was that present before him?
Well, I give myself a lot of credit for that.
Okay, so there's my point. Like, you can't change the game if you weren't a pioneer in something. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's where my confusion's lying. Like, I can understand you have helped elevate the game. I can understand if you say you have helped change what a center looks like in modern basketball. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to negate that. I can agree with that because now you have a lot more centers who are playing that type of game and you're part of that new wave, that new generation. But when you talk about changing the game, you didn't reinvent the wheel. Like, you weren't the first of your kind to do that. So when you say change the game, I'm just confused on what he means by that. Like, in what way?
Right. I understand that.
Twan, you kind of slid something in there a little bit. You said, well, I kind of credit myself a little bit for that. Like, what did you mean by that?
Because it wasn't power forwards shooting threes, shooting 600, 700 threes a season until I got in the league. I played a big part in changing that. You had some big guys that would step out and, shoot threes, but not at the level I was. I was shooting 8, 9 threes a game at one point in my career.
How many were we making?
So I feel like I'm a part of it where I made it cool for big guys to step out and be able to shoot the basketball at 6'9". I was a big part of that. This all you got to think is prior to when I came in the league in '96, it wasn't a lot of big guys that were stepping out shooting threes.
Do you remember the moment where you were in a gym and you were like, I'm about to start shooting threes. I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna change my
game. And like, what was your thought process? What was your thought process behind like, oh, let me go do this?
Well, my skill set. So you got to think I came in the league. I was 6'8", 6'9", and I was trying to figure out. I was at the 3 position when I came in, and I was guarding the Scottie Pippins of the world, and and it was tough for me. So I found a position, I went to power forward spot and used my skill level where I could have an advantage. So my advantage was being able to step outside, shoot threes, and being able to dribble at my size. So it was just finding the niche for me. So I feel like I was a part of making it cool for big guys to step out and shoot threes. I remember I used to get booed in Boston. I used to get booed for shooting threes. I mean, literally get booed by my home crowd, in the beginning. Then when they started to see that was really a part of my game and how much an advantage it was for me. Then that's when they started cheering for me. That's when it started getting accepted. I mean, announcers used to kill me on TV because the typical thought process back then was that big guys should stay inside 15 feet.
Yep.
It wasn't so. That's why I feel like I've helped change the game in that sense. So I don't know if Karl-Anthony Towns is meant it that way, but that's how I feel I helped change the game to make it cool for guys 6'8", 6'9" to be able to step out and shoot the three.
Right, but that, like I'm saying, changing, like what you're saying is changing the game. What Karl-Anthony Towns has taken something that was already in the direction of change and just elevated it, because 40% from the three is extremely impressive.
Yes.
So you've taken a formula that already existed and you elevated it. That doesn't mean you changed it. That just means you heightened it. That's why I'm confused by the statement.
Okay, let me jump in here, and Wu, I know you got something that you go ahead, Wu, before I jump
I was just gonna say it was right after the 99 and 2000 season. Twan went from 285 3-point attempts to 603.
God
and
damn.
then
He
the
started
next
hacking. He started hacking.
he started going crazy with it. 645 the next season.
My God.
Yeah. He started going crazy right around 2000, man. And
Ball hog.
I also wanted to point out the best 3-point shooting center last year was Al Horford.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not shocked there. So listen, this is Brandon Marshall, Ashley Nicole Moss, Antoine Walker, Wu, Out West, Corey in the cut, BC in the booth, Mander Legend here on YouTube, Sirius XM, Channel 103, Faction Talk. Before we move on, I do want to just put this out there. Karl-Anthony Towns. All right, 511 games, career points average, 23 points, rebounds, 11 rebounds a game, assists, 3. Field goal percentage, 52%. Field goal percentage from 3, 39%. Free throws, 83%. Okay? And all that other basketball stuff I ain't going to read. Now you got the Joker, 596 career games, 20 points a game. That's his career average. So Karl-Anthony Towns have the edge there. Rebounds, 10.5 for the Joker. Karl-Anthony Towns has the edge there. Assists, 6.6. So Joker has the edge there. He's averaging 3 more assists than Karl-Anthony Towns, the man that came out and said, I will redefine, or they will say that I changed the position. Or what did he say? Change the game. Change the game. Field goal percentage, 55%. Field goal percentage from 3, 34% for the Joker. And then free throws, 82%. So what Karl-Anthony Towns is missing, it seems like to me, is a legendary run. Because his numbers, Ashley, is damn near better than the Joker's from a career standpoint, and the Joker got way more games played.
Good
But
point.
you got let me answer that.
Why? It's the numbers. It's the numbers.
Yeah, I'm looking at
The
the
numbers
stats,
game,
man.
the
They
numbers
very
game, the
comparable.
numbers game is real, but you got to think about this. Those numbers don't create. I mean, the wins and losses is what it's all about.
He's in Minnesota.
I know, but you can put up big numbers on a bad team. We don't get a lot of credit. You don't get a lot of credit for that. What the Joker's doing and winning NBA titles, it speaks more value. It speaks louder.
Wow.
That's where the difference is at.
So the Joker, where the Joker has the nod and the edge over Karl-Anthony Towns, is field goal percentage, and I want to say
The assist.
Do y'all remember?
That's
Let
it.
me ask y'all a question. Do you guys remember when Kevin Garnett was stuck in Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
putting up big numbers? Kevin Garnett didn't get his just due, so he went to the Boston Celtics and actually won one.
Right.
You're right.
It's kind of the same thing. And once you start winning with those numbers, now you're separating yourself. So
Ooh.
putting up numbers on a bad team, we don't give a lot of credit for that. I mean, we respect your game. We know you're nice and you're good. That's why we had this conversation about Dame Lillard. He puts up all these crazy numbers, plays great, but he ain't been on the big stage. We waiting to see him on the big stage. Obviously, he's been in the playoffs. We want to see him on the big stage. We want to see him in the finals. That's why we want him to ask for a trade and go to a better team so he can have a shot to play on the big stage.
Can we
just different guys?
Can you guys see Karl-Anthony Towns ever on a move?
I think so.
Could you see him on a different
Yeah,
team?
for sure.
Is this the year, Ashley?
Got a big
BC
contract.
saying rumors he going
I
to the
don't know.
Knicks.
I don't
Hard
think.
to move.
Yeah, he's got a hefty contract. It's gonna be a little bit hard
Probably
to move.
for-
But
that.
if he's,
I don't think it's this year. I think that the Timberwolves aren't a complete lost cause. I think there's a lot of promise there. They have a nice little group of guys there. They were in the playoffs this year. Were they a play-in team?
No, they made it to the
Oh
playoffs.
no, they made it to the They were in the
Nuggets
playoffs
knocked
this year,
them out.
right? So if I'm Cat, I'm not leaving
Yeah, I
Minnesota. At least not right now. I think there's too much promise there that you gotta kind of see through. Now I think that if it hits a wall and there's no it plateaus, then you have that conversation. But I don't think this team is there yet.
Okay.
Do you like that too big concept, Antoine? Do you think that's going to work for them if they want to make it to the second,
the
third
league
round
is
of the
too-
playoffs?
No, the league is too small.
Yeah.
I don't think it works. And then Rudy's he's too limited offensively. Obviously a great defensive player, good rebounder, but he's too limited offensively. If it was a skilled big man that could score the basketball,
Right.
then maybe it possibly could work. But I don't think them two it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think you move Cat back to the center and find you a good dynamic point, power forward. I think it's a better situation for him.